Hi everyone, let's talk about The River, which is the new game from Days of Wonder. And if you've seen their games before, you know, Small World, Quadropolis, Five Tribes, they always go all out on production and artwork. The games always look beautiful. They always got, beautiful components, custom inserts and things. They really go all the way with the presentation of the games, and this is no different. You can probably see from the box right in front of you. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? And the components are really nice. There's not that much, to see in the game. There's a deck of cards, there's a pile of tiles, and there are some resources. But for what there is, it all looks really nice, and it's a very nice light worker placement game as well. I can see it being a really good introduction to them, because with there not being that many plates spinning, you can really zero in on these things. You have this limited range of terrain tiles that you can choose from each round, so there is a race for those. If there is a real need to be first player sometimes, because you can get really stuck with not being able to produce enough of something, or not being able to store the resources that you produce, and that can be a massive problem. And as we try to do in the playthrough, you can try and starve other players of storage if you see that they haven't gone for it enough, and there's only one storage tile this round and you're the first player. Even if you don't need it, it might be worth taking to stop anyone else being able to get those big building cards. But yeah, having the restriction of placing the tiles along the river, even though you can swap them around later, it leads to, it reduces that decision space of where am I going to put this, and, all the kind of spatial planning of some tile laying games. That's, you're just putting it in the next space along. And that leads to, okay, I have to cover up this wood space. I have to cover up this storage space. I want this thing that's going to give me a stone at the end of every round, but I don't want to lose 2 storage spaces or whatever's already printed on my board. I really, really want this extra tile, but I don't want to have to lose a worker. That's a really nice thing as well, that as the game is going on, you can gain 1 more worker, but quickly, if you are gathering those terrain tiles, you are quickly going to be losing workers. But the kind of trade-off of that is, hopefully, by gathering all of those terrain tiles, you'll have increased your production and storage enough that having fewer actions shouldn't affect you as much. The resources being limited is nice as well. Sometimes it can be a real race to get hold of those. You can turn your resources into food at any time. That gives you more flexibility. If you just want to really concentrate on producing a load of bricks, for example, over everything else, you can still turn them into food and use that as a wildcard. But the food's really, really restricted as well, so running out of those resources, it can be a race to grab hold of those. Yeah, all in all, I think there's a lot going on in it, but it's a really, as I said, it's quite a light game, to the point where even though everything works together very beautifully, let's say that maybe there isn't enough weight, there isn't enough decisions to be made for us. We'd probably like a little bit more, like maybe if the building cards did something, or if there was more to where you place the tiles. But I don't think it's going for that. Maybe in an expansion it could do something like that. That's my idea. But for what it is, I think it would be a really good introduction, or a really good, just lighter weight game. Doesn't necessarily have to be an introduction, does it? But yeah, I think maybe a little bit too on the light side for us, but I can definitely appreciate what it does. And still, it's even saying that, it was a really fun game to play, because as always, Days of Wonder do beautiful things, and it's just nice seeing it all laid out, isn't it? But you know that because you've seen the playthrough, haven't you? You can disregard what I've said because the playthrough is there, and you can see it all looking pretty on the table. Handheld camera, static camera, that's a new thing. I'm going to stop talking now. Thanks for watching this. There are more playthroughs soon. Bye!